These past 4 or 5 months has given me an opportunity to kind of mentally and physically just realign, refocus, reset. He's the glue of the place, really. He's the loudest one in the changing room, loudest one around here. There was a lot of circumstances and things going on at Chelsea that weren't in my control, which I completely respect.
Ben, good to see you. All good?
You too, Liam, how are you?
Yeah, good. Well, look, your new home. How have you settled in here at Crystal Palace?
Yeah, really good. I think, kind of like I said before, coming here, knowing a lot of the players previously, through the national team, through playing against them in the league, it seemed a pretty easy choice.
Yeah.
Spoke to the manager also before. We had a talk over Zoom and kind of agreed on lots of different things. So I think with the manager and the people that I knew here previously, it was a pretty easy decision to come and settled in really quickly.
Ben, you mentioned there Oliver Glasner, your new manager. What sort of conversations did you have then, and how have you been impressed by what you've seen on the training pitch and on match day?
When I heard that he likes to play a back five, which obviously was what I played in under Thomas when we won the Champions League, we kind of spoke about that and a lot of the principles that he wanted to implement, especially in the position that I play in, were things that aligned with me and things that I think suit my attributes. So got off the call and said to my agent, I think this is looking like the best fit. And then, since coming in, pretty much a lot more of the same.
Big chance this weekend, FA Cup quarter-final, Fulham. How are you feeling? Because it's one trophy that's missing from all the ones you've won is the FA Cup.
Yeah, that's a touchy subject.
Yeah.
Obviously, been to Wembley a few times. We're all just so motivated and so ready. I think it's been, I'm not sure how long, but a few weeks since we've had a game. So, we've been making sure, if you saw the training this morning, we've been making sure that every day's been sharp. Managers making sure that we're on it every day because, like you said, these opportunities, as I know, they don't come around very often.
Big boost for Palace this weekend. Jean-Philippe Mateta, he's back involved, back in the team.
Yeah.
He'll be a big bonus.
For sure. Before I came to Palace, you watch him on TV, we know how good of a footballer he is and how prolific he is in front of goal, but I think the other side of it, which I've been impressed by, is how he is around the building. He's the glue of the place, really. He's the loudest one in the changing room, loudest one around here.
You need a few of those.
You need it. It's literally, like I said, it's a long season, so you need them characters around the place that are always cracking jokes, making people laugh. In the small sideds in training, they're the loudest one when their team loses or their team wins. They're the most important figures in the changing room. So it's definitely noticed when he's not in the building, put it that way, because like I said, he's just such a bubbly character. And then again, like I said, on the pitch, he's having a brilliant season and he's had a brilliant few seasons. And hopefully, having him back this weekend will be a massive boost, and hopefully he can help us out.
I think when I look at your career, there's been so many highs, obviously winning the Champions League, but also you're someone who's used to setbacks, just like every professional footballer. Last year, obviously, injuries and whatnot. How have you kind of tapped into, I know you're big on psychology, has that been useful now to be back playing somewhere, having gone through a difficult period as well?
With the setbacks that I have had, and there've definitely been a few, I think when I was younger, I found them a lot more difficult. Like initially with the ACL, that was probably the toughest moment because it was probably my first big setback. That was kind of the first setback and I didn't really know how to deal with it. And I think, I've had a few more injuries since then, and as difficult as it is to try and spin in any way you can that situation into a positive, it's not going to be easy, but you try and spin it into, okay, like for example, the past however many months at Chelsea, between the start of the season in January, of course, I was training by myself a lot of the days. You're obviously not involved in the match day squads, and you kind of just wait for the opportunity when you're going to go somewhere. If you go somewhere in January and you're miles off the pace or you're not put the work in, the only person that's losing out is you. So, of course, it's difficult. Training by yourself a lot for a number of months isn't easy, but I think the only thing that was kind of keeping me going was I knew I was going to go somewhere, whether it was January or the end of the season, and the only person that was going to lose out if I wasn't ready was myself. So I think these past 4 or 5 months has given me an opportunity to kind of mentally and physically just realign, refocus, reset to go again. There was a lot of circumstances and things going on at Chelsea that weren't in my control, which I completely respect. But the things that I could control was how I came into training every day and how I trained, whether it's by myself or with the group. And that's just a reflection of myself, and I wasn't going to let myself down in those moments. What you can control, you just control as best as you can.
And a former teammate who's testament to that, Reece James, an amazing moment for England scoring that free kick. Have you been in touch? I know it will mean a lot to him to have that moment at Wembley.
Yeah, I sent him a message last night. I think he's probably had hundreds of messages.
Somewhere
so
in the,
I'm sure he'll
yeah.
get back to me in the next few days, I'm sure. But they mentioned last night 2.5 years since he's played for England. So again, they're the things. I'm sure he would be saying exactly the same thing. He's kept that moment in his mind for the past however many years. He's going to get that opportunity to play for England again, and he's kept working hard. Had his injury setbacks, and then there you go, gets his opportunity last night and scores a goal. So again, that's just an example of when you do put the work in, things always seem to flip back into your favour.
And when you look at that, and Thomas Tuchel's someone you know well, you're back playing. You still have aspirations of getting back into the England squad? You've represented the country so many times at the highest level.
Of course, yeah. I think it's a much longer term goal, but the World Cup, of course. You know, I missed the last World Cup with an injury, missed the Euros with an injury. So I think this World Cup is definitely in my mind. It's a while away, but again, that was definitely something in the last 4 or 5 months at Chelsea where it was another added motivation to just keep on going. Hopefully I can continue playing here, and next season, wherever it may be, have a good season and then see where we end up.
On that, everyone's so glad to see you back playing. What does the future hold for you? Where do you see the next year going for you?
Short term, long term, I want to get back playing football regularly, stay injury free, which, you know, fortunately I feel very good in my body at the moment. So I think just get back playing football regularly, enjoying my football, which I am here. And yeah, again, just not too much pressure on it, but hopefully go and win more trophies, whether it's here, whether it's anywhere else, and then go and represent my country at a World Cup.
And lastly, how much will it mean to this group of players to win at the weekend in the FA Cup and get that semi-final at Wembley?
A lot. I think, you know, the manager just spoke about it a lot, that he's never been to Wembley. He told us this morning that he went to the game last night just to go and soak in Wembley, and a bit more added motivation for him. And I'm sure there's probably a few boys in the changing room that also haven't been to Wembley. The motivation is 100% there, and you know, if we can hopefully get the win on Saturday, which, you know, we're going to be very motivated for, then, you know, the next step is Wembley. So, you know, there's not much more motivation either than that.
Well, Ben, all the best.
That's one, Liam.
We can go get in the dry now.
Yes,
can't
exactly.
We
can indeed.